We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Israel threatens to resume fighting if Hamas does not respect Gaza truce deal, while Hamas says it has handed over all hostage bodies it can access. Trump authorizes CIA operations in Venezuela, raising pressure on the South American country. Maduro government says it has a violation of international law and the United Nations Charter. India's Minister of State Kirti Vardhan Singh reaffirms country's support for Gaza peace plan at NAM Ministerial Committee meeting on Palestine in Uganda, says two-state solution is the only path to achieve lasting peace and overall prosperity. In view to strengthen the bonds of friendship and deepening bilateral ties, Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Harini Amarasurya, to arrive in India today. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati will also visit. An Indian city of Ahmedabad recommended as the host city for 2030 centenary Commonwealth Games. And on to the details now. Israel's defense minister threatened on Wednesday to resume fighting if Hamas does not honor the terms of a US-backed ceasefire that halted the conflict in Gaza. The statement from Defense Minister Israel Katz's office came after Hamas's armed wing said it had transferred all the bodies it could access and that it would need special recovery equipment to reach more bodies promised under a ceasefire deal. Since Monday, Hamas has handed back 20 surviving hostages to Israel in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners freed from Israeli jails. Hamas had already returned the remains of 7 of the 28 known deceased hostages. Also, Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir has threatened to cut off desperately needed aid supplies to Gaza if Hamas fails to return the remains of soldiers. Israel, meanwhile, transferred another 45 Palestinian bodies that had been in its custody in southern Gaza, bringing the number returned to 90. Under the Trump plan, Israel is to return 15 Palestinian dead for every deceased Israeli hostage. And U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that the U.S. military will not be needed to disarm Hamas militants. Trump said that the U.S. would support Israel in the effort and that U.S. wants Hamas to give up their weapons as part of the Gaza deal reached last week.
We won't need the U.S. military. We won't need it. We're going to, because we're very much involved. And if we weren't involved, there wouldn't be peace. If we didn't destroy the nuclear capability of Iran, that deal would have never happened for two reasons. The Arab nations would not have felt bold enough to do it because you have a very powerful, at that time, Iran. It's not powerful anymore between what Israel and us did.
Meanwhile, United Nations humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher said on Wednesday that Israel should immediately open crossings into Gaza for humanitarian aid. The crossing remained shut on Wednesday despite reports that it could reopen to aid convoys.
It should happen now. We want it to happen immediately as part of this agreement. As I said, 2-3 days ago, we were getting in at that number. The last couple of days have been lower, and we want to get back to the correct number and deliver at scale.
While U.S. President Donald Trump has confirmed that he authorized the CIA to carry out covert operations in Venezuela, this marks a significant turning point in Washington's pressure campaign against President Nicolas Maduro's regime. Now, Trump said the decision came after intelligence reports claimed Venezuela was releasing prisoners, including those from mental institutions, who later entered the United States through what he called an open border. He also blamed the Maduro regime for fueling America's drug crisis, alleging vast shipments of narcotics are flowing in by the sea.
I think Venezuela is feeling heat, but I think a lot of other countries are feeling heat too. We're not going to let this country, our country, be ruined because other people want to drop, as you say, their worst. They have given us their worst. They've loaded up our country with prisoners, with mentally ill people that are seriously ill, criminally ill, and we're not going to take it. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things. And I can tell you, we've taken care of the sea. There's nobody, and we're watching. We're watching. And if we see it, we'll save it.
Well, Venezuela has fiercely condemned U.S. President Donald Trump's admission that he authorized CIA covert operations in the country, calling it a grave violation of international law and the UN Charter. Caracas accused Washington of pursuing regime change under the guise of security, with one ultimate goal, it said, to seize control of Venezuela's vast oil wealth.
No al cambio de régimen que nos recuerda tanto a las fallidas guerras eternas de Afganistán, Irak, Libia, y pare usted de contar. No a los golpes de Estado dados por la CIA, que nos recuerda tanto a los 30.000 desaparecidos por la CIA en los golpes de Estado contra Argentina, al golpe de Estado de Pinochet y los 5.000 jóvenes asesinados y desaparecidos. ¿Hasta cuándo golpes de Estado de la CIA? América Latina no los quiere, no los necesita y los repudia.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court's conservative justices signaled their willingness to undercut another key section of the Voting Rights Act, the landmark 1965 federal law enacted by Congress to prevent racial discrimination in voting. Also, the questions they posed during arguments in a major case involving Louisiana electoral districts reflected an interest in curbing the Voting Rights Act Section 2, which bars voting maps that would result in diluting the clout of minorities even without direct proof of racist intent. Now, the court in recent years has moved American law dramatically rightward. Republicans currently hold a slim majority in the U.S. House of Representatives, and a decision gutting Section 2 could benefit them. While the conservative justices seemed united in their skepticism towards this provision, exactly how they might depart from its current application was unclear. And a Peruvian judge rejected a bid to prevent former President Dina Boluart, who Congress abruptly ousted last week, from leaving the country while state prosecutors investigate her for alleged abuse of office and money laundering. Boluart, one of the world's least popular leaders, left office with approval ratings ranging between 2% and 4% amid growing unrest over insecurity, as transport workers and young people protested rising extortions and murders. While university students, civil groups, transportation workers and political groups hold a national march in the capital to protest crime and corruption despite the recent ouster of former President Dina Boluart. Peru has faced years of political turmoil with 7 presidents in as many years. 3 ex-leaders are behind bars, and more than half of Peru's also deeply unpopular Congress representatives are under investigation by state prosecutors. And several thousand people rallied in southern Tunisia, calling for the closure of an old chemical factory, which locals have blamed for a host of poisonings and health issues. Now, the police fired large amounts of tear gas as the procession neared the Tunisian chemical group factory. Hundreds of people retreated, but groups of young people remained shouting their anger, while several individuals fainted. In recent weeks, scores of people have been hospitalized in the city of Gabes, with residents pointing the finger at the potentially cancer-causing waste from a phosphate processing plant nearby. Raging with anger, the protesters blamed the plant for collapsed fishing stocks, beach pollution, respiratory diseases and cancer. And the Tunisian government requests again in 2026 an exceptional direct funding from the central bank worth $3.7 billion. The budget bill aims to fill the fiscal deficit given the scarcity of external financing. The government in 2025 resorted to borrowing $2.3 billion to repay urgent debts, a move experts have warned could push the country into a spiral of inflation. Tunisia will need internal and external financing amounting to TND 27 billion in 2026, almost the same as last year. And Syria is in a hurry to rebuild its war-torn economy and will not wait for the international community to begin making those changes, the country's finance minister said on Wednesday. At the International Monetary Fund in Washington, Mohammad Yasir Barneha said that what we need from the IMF and the World Bank is capacity building, knowledge transfer, technology, know-how, expertise, and so on. He said, we don't need money from them. Barneha was part of Syria's first delegation to the fund and the World Bank's semi-annual gathering of central bank governors and finance ministers since the Syrian civil war broke out in 2011. Syria's government faces a monumental challenge in rebuilding the country's war-torn economy after more than 15 years of civil war, something Barneha estimated would likely cost tens of billions of dollars. And tensions along Pakistan-Afghanistan border have again erupted into deadly clashes, prompting a 48-hour ceasefire agreement between the two sides. The truce comes after days of heavy cross-border fire and airstrikes that left dozens dead. Here's more in this report.
After a deadly clash along the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan on Wednesday, Taliban administration agreed to a temporary 48-hour ceasefire with Pakistan. Pakistan's foreign ministry said both sides would make sincere efforts through dialogue to find a positive solution to the complex yet resolvable issue. The truce followed after more than a dozen civilians were killed in Afghanistan earlier in the day as fresh fighting erupted, shattering a fragile calm that had briefly returned after weekend clashes. Pakistan also carried out an airstrike in Afghanistan's Kandahar province amid the escalating hostilities.
It was around 4 a.m. when the fighting began. Most of the wounded are children and 90% of the casualties are civilians, including women and children. We have, thank God, prepared the ambulances and all the injured, whether women or children, are treated here first and then transferred to Kandahar city.
In retaliation, Taliban forces attacked a Pakistani border post, triggering gunfire and sending plumes of smoke billowing over the frontier town of Chaman. Officials in Pakistan said at least 4 civilians were wounded on their side of the border.
4 of us drivers were waiting for passengers near the customs at Chaman border. One old driver, a Baba, brought us to the hospital.
Violence between the two countries has intensified since twin explosions in Kabul last week and others outside the capital, which the Taliban administration blamed on Islamabad. The bombing sparked a series of deadly border skirmishes in which dozens of soldiers and civilians have been killed on both sides. For now, all eyes are on whether this short-term ceasefire can hold and whether both sides can pull back from the brink of a deeper conflict. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Prime Minister Modi to visit Andhra Pradesh today to launch and dedicate multiple development projects in Kurnool. India's GST collections soar to record levels in September after major reforms hailed as a Diwali gift for citizens. And DP World India Championships 2025 tees off from October 16 to 19th at Delhi Golf Club.
There's so many invaluable artifacts that the British have taken from our country. They robbed us of our self-respect. They robbed us of our honor. Loot was never innocent. It was painful.
The word loot, that was stolen from India too.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khuranan. Moving on, India reaffirmed its long-standing commitment to the Palestinian cause and the pursuit of peace in West Asia during the meeting of the NAM Ministerial Committee on Palestine in Kampala. Addressing the meeting, India's Minister of State for External Affairs, Kirti Vardhan Singh, said India welcomes the agreement of the first phase of Trump's Gaza peace plan and commends the initiative and efforts of the US and President Trump. Reiterating India's consistent position on the developments since October 7, 2023 and the conflict that followed, Singh stated that India condemned terrorism and upheld that the destruction, despair and suffering of civilians must end. Gaza must have access to food, fuel and other necessities without hindrance, and ceasefire must be in place. He called for all parties to uphold their commitments to ensure that peace and calm prevail, acknowledging the diplomatic role played by regional stakeholders. The Indian minister added that India also expresses its appreciation to the leadership of two NAM members, Egypt and Qatar, which played a fundamental role in realizing the agreement. Also, he underlined that India's position on Palestine has always been rooted in historical support for the Palestinian people's rights. Concluding his address, the minister reiterated India's readiness to contribute constructively to the peace process and its enduring partnership with NAM members. NAM Ministerial Committee on Palestine was established under India's presidency during NAM summit in New Delhi in 1983. And Sri Lankan Prime Minister Harini Amarasurya will undertake a 3-day visit to India, her first since assuming the charge of the top office. Sri Lankan Prime Minister will meet Indian political leaders to discuss bilateral issues of mutual consent and interest. The visiting Prime Minister, a distinguished alumna of the Hindu College of Delhi University, will also visit her alma mater. In addition, she will participate in a business event to strengthen commercial linkages between the countries. The visit continues the tradition of regular high-level exchanges between India and Sri Lanka, advancing the deep and multifaceted bilateral ties. It will further strengthen the bonds of friendship reinforced by India's Mahasagar vision and its neighbourhood first policy. And Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdelatty will be in India this morning. During his 2-day visit, Badr Abdelatty will be meeting Indian political leaders, discussing issues to strengthen bilateral ties. On October 17th, the visiting Foreign Minister Abdelatty will meet Foreign Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the national capital. The high-profile visit comes shortly after Union Minister of State for External Affairs Kirti Vardhan Singh met with Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt during the Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh earlier this week. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit South Indian state of Andhra Pradesh on Thursday. During his visit, Prime Minister Modi will lay the foundation stone, inaugurate and dedicate to the nation multiple development projects in Kurnool. These projects span across key sectors including industry, power transmission, roads, railways, defence, manufacturing and petroleum and natural gas. These projects will generate major infrastructure and industrial investments in the state and will enhance the connectivity by better roads and railways network. Energy and defence projects will produce advanced electro-optical systems for the Indian Defence Forces, promoting self-reliance and high-skill employment. You're watching DD India Live, and now news from the business world. India's GST collections have hit a record high of 1.89 lakh crore rupees in September 2025, the highest ever. The surge comes after major GST reforms rolled out on September 22nd, bringing relief to traders, patients and even home buyers. From healthcare to real estate and everyday essentials, the reforms are being hailed as a real Diwali gift for the people. Here's a report.
There has been a record turnover of goods and services tax in September 2025, with monthly gross collections touching 1.89 lakh crore rupees. Moreover, nation's mood is upbeat after the next-gen GST reforms implemented on 22nd September this year. Be it traders or common man, every segment of society is hailing this move.
The GST revision, we can feel the difference when we do the purchase. There are lots of margin difference in different products which we use in household daily activities. So there is probably like the monthly budget that we are planning in a family basis. There is a much more difference between the usual price and after the GST revision.
Prices of goods have stabilized with the tax system becoming transparent, leading to ease of doing business. The Indian government has also done away with GST rate on life-saving drugs and health insurance. This move is a big relief for patients suffering from serious diseases.
Reduction in the drug GST will reduce ultimately the cost of drugs, which can be utilized by many more cancer patients, and the cure rates and control of cancer rates will increase, and many more patients will be cured and benefit from this step.
People of Hyderabad termed the doing away of GST on insurance a very welcome step.
The new reforms, what it has been taken by our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, we welcome those reforms. In medical insurance and life insurance also, it totally abolishes the GST, which is a very positive and good move on the part of central government.
The GST rate reduction has also given a big boost to the real estate sector.
I don't think that there is any doubt that GST rationalization is a very welcome move for both real estate as well as hospitality sector. It's a very strong signal, not only in terms of viability as well as liquidity availability in the market, but as well as the fact that there's a policy shift.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that farmers are also reaping the benefits of GST reforms.
किसानों के उपयोग वाले वस्तुओं के ऊपर भी टैक्स कम हुआ है। सोलर पावर्ड इक्विपमेंट या आपके ट्रैक्टर, टिलर, एग्रीकल्चरल मशीनरी, पूरे के पूरे जितने भी किसान अन्नदाता उपयोग करते हैं, उन सब में जीएसटी का कम रेट हो गया है 5% या कभी कंप्लीट वेवर भी हुआ है.
The impact of GST reforms can be seen in every sector, from cars and electronics to groceries and fashion industry. It's not just a tax reform, it's a festival of savings, a revival of demand, and as many call it, the real Diwali gift from PM Modi to the people of India. Bureau Report, DD India.
And on to some sports news now. The Commonwealth Sport Executive Board said that the Indian city of Ahmedabad has been recommended as the host city for the 2030 Games. The board said it will propose Ahmedabad in the western state of Gujarat to the full Commonwealth Sport membership for approval at the General Assembly in Glasgow on 26th of November. Ahmedabad has been chosen ahead of Abuja, Nigeria by the Commonwealth Sport Evaluation Commission. The 2030 Games are set to commemorate 100 years since the inaugural event was held in Hamilton, City of Canada. India last hosted the Games in 2010 in Delhi. And golf's biggest stars are set to descend on Delhi Golf Club as the DP World India Championships tees off from 16 to 19 October 2025, bringing together an exceptional field led by the world number 2, Rory McIlroy. DD India's Abhishek Prasad brings us this preview.
The stage is set for inaugural DP World India Championships as some of the biggest names in men's golf will vie for glory at the Delhi Golf Club from Thursday. The event, scheduled to run from October 16 to 19, will be the most lucrative golf tournament ever held in India.
From world-class swings to homegrown talent, this DP India World Championship is where India's golfing dream meets global glory.
Featuring a star-studded international field, including Ryder Cup stars Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, Victor Hovland and Shane Lowry, the tournament marks a new chapter for professional golf in India. Career Grand Slam winner McIlroy marks his first appearance in India this week with a return to competitive action after helping Europe win the Ryder Cup at Bethpage.
I think India has a wonderful culture. I think the people are unbelievably welcoming and hospitable and gentle, I guess would be and it's It's a pleasure to be here. Golf has become quite a big sport in this country, but hopefully I can help it become even bigger, which would be a great thing.
Flying the flag for India will be Shubhankar Sharma and Anirban Lahiri, who have previously won on the DP World Tour. Sharma expressed excitement about returning to Delhi Golf Club, highlighting the strong field and the event's importance for Indian golf, noting the growing popularity of the sport and the opportunity for Indian players to compete against the best.
This is definitely the biggest event that's happened in India, and I'm really happy guys like Rory and Tommy are here. It's a very proud moment for everyone in India and for Indian golf. I hope there'll be an Indian winner this week and there'll be many Indians in the top 10. Tournaments like this will definitely help in enhancing it furthermore. And now it being an Olympic sport, there's going to be much more impetus given to golf. There'll be a lot more funding, and events like this just it's more eyeballs on the sport when the world number 2 comes to your country.
A $4 million purse is unprecedented in Indian golf. That signals serious investment and confidence in the potential of golf in India. Having multiple DP World Tour events in India in the same season, this plus the Hero Indian Open emphasizes that India is becoming an important destination on the international golf calendar.
With global stars and India's finest golfers sharing the same fairway, this DP India World Championship is not just a tournament, it's a testament to how far India has come and how further it can go. With cameraman Manoj, this is Abhishek Prasad at the Delhi Golf Club, DD India.
Well, the IUCN World Conservation Congress concluded in Abu Dhabi after a week of global deliberations on climate and biodiversity. Over 10,000 delegates from governments, NGOs and indigenous groups adopted landmark resolutions tackling wildlife trade, synthetic biology and fossil fuel phase-out. The Congress launched the Abu Dhabi Call to Action, setting IUCN's 20-year vision for climate resilience and biodiversity recovery. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.